Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking some truly fascinating insights from Jim Brown's book, The Imperfect CEO, looking specifically through the lens of John Pearson's fantastic review. We're going to use this material to give you, the next generation of emerging leaders, a real actionable roadmap for modern organizational health. And to make it stick, we're going to treat this journey like a climb up a massive mountain. So let's just rip the Band-Aid off right away to take the pressure off. Do you know any imperfect leaders? If you're nodding right now, you are in great company. The reality is, everybody is an imperfect leader. And yep, that includes those old-school CEOs who traditionally call all the shots. The author points out that thousands of businesses suffer from completely preventable pain simply because their leaders pretend they have it all figured out. As emerging leaders, your literal first step is just admitting that perfection isn't the goal here, growth is.
We actually see this generational friction hit the fan in the book's business fable. The story follows this executive team with the CEO named David and his chief people officer, Carmen. Carmen takes a huge risk and flat out tells David that what he thinks is strong, confident, and clear leadership, well, his younger Gen Z and millennial teams actually see it as controlling and arrogant. It's a massive paradigm shift, right? It proves that the old command and control playbook just doesn't resonate with today's workforce.
Stephen M. R. Covey hits the nail on the head in the book's foreword with this brilliant truth bomb. The world is desperately in need of leaders who are less interested in looking good and more interested in doing good. Honestly, this right here is our mandate as emerging leaders. It's all about shifting away from ego-driven authority and moving straight toward purpose-driven impact.
So here is our expedition map for today. We're going to conquer 4 peaks. Peak 1 is collaborative culture. Peak 2 is leadership accountability. Peak 3 is strategic momentum. And Peak 4 is talent magnetism. Then we'll wrap the whole thing up with mastering learning moments.
All right, let's hit Peak 1, collaborative culture, which is the essential core of any healthy team. Now, building this culture is way easier said than done. The book shows this struggle through a super relatable clash. Picture this. The sales team promises the moon to clients just to hit their quotas, which instantly forces impossible soul-crushing deadlines onto the production team. Sound familiar? Departments get siloed, they only care about their own specific metrics, and it completely wrecks the collective health of the entire organization.
To bust those silos, Brown suggests a really gutsy move. First, you have to look in the mirror and honestly admit when you've prioritized your own department over the whole organization. Then, you build a collaboration charter. This is an actual documented agreement where the leadership team commits, in writing, to prioritize collective goals over their own little departmental wins. It forces everyone out of their silos, so they're finally climbing the exact same mountain.
Moving right along to Peak 2, leadership accountability. This is our pivot point.
Look, we are all completely exhausted by CEOs making huge missteps and then rolling out that standard empty PR apology. You know the one, I will be holding myself accountable. It means absolutely nothing. Instead, the book argues we need to ditch those solo PR stunts and actually do the hard work through team-based leadership homework. True accountability isn't a statement you make to the press, it's getting your hands dirty with your team to figure out what actually broke. And here is how you can actually do that homework starting right now. Step 1, pick a recent costly misstep. Step 2, map out exactly who was consulted before the call was made. Step 3, pinpoint exactly whose input was missing and how listening to them earlier could have saved you. And finally, Step 4, present all of this to your team. You aren't just saying sorry, you're tracing the root cause, finding those missing voices, and making sure the entire team learns from it.
Next up is Peak 3, strategic momentum, which acts as our rudder.
To keep your momentum going, you absolutely need 3 distinct elements. First, a crystal clear strategy, because everyone has to know where the ship is headed. Second, sustainable profitability. And third, proactive adaptability. The bottom line here is that for an organization to be healthy, it has to be fruitful. You need that strategic rudder to navigate crazy changes in the environment while still keeping the lights on.
This idea is a total game changer for the nonprofit space, which is so incredibly relevant for purpose-driven leaders like us. In the fable, Carmen points out that nonprofits need to stop defining themselves by what they aren't. Instead, they should rebrand as for-impact organizations. Remember, nonprofit is just a tax designation. It's not a management philosophy. When you're for impact, your whole strategy becomes about the actual measurable difference you're making in the real world.
Finally, we summit Peak 4, talent magnetism, the beacon of your culture.
You can't expect to be a talent magnet by accident. You have to take highly creative action. Check out these awesome examples from the text. An Australian software company uses ship-it days. They literally give staff 24 hours to drop their normal tasks and tackle any wild project that excites them. MasterCard does reverse mentoring, pairing young leaders with senior execs to teach them about emerging trends. How empowering is that? And Southwest Airlines uses unorthodox interviews to see how applicants handle real-life curveballs, which totally exposes their true core values.
But if you want a micro habit you can deploy today, try the 2-minute rule. As a leader, challenge your team to take collaborative actions that can be wrapped up in 120 seconds or less. It is such a simple, low-friction way to keep the teamwork flowing and the collaborative energy high without trapping everybody in endless, boring meetings.
And that brings us to the final stretch, mastering learning moments.
The guy who reviewed this book, John Pearson, had a huge personal light bulb moment here. After reading about these 4 peaks, he realized he didn't need to learn how to master mistake-making. He needed to completely shift his mindset to mastering learning moments. That is the secret sauce of the Imperfect CEO. When you finally drop the whole perfection act, every single misstep just transforms into a crucial stepping stone on your climb to organizational health.
So I'm going to leave you with this final, slightly uncomfortable coaching question from the source material to chew on today. When was the last time you adjusted your leadership approach simply by listening to feedback from your team? If you really want to be a magnet for talent and build an amazing culture, you've got to swap judgment for curiosity. Listen to your people, own your imperfections, and get out there and start climbing.